5:41 p.m., the radio operator leaned closer to his headset. The transmission coming through wasn't distorted. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't panicked. It was calm. Measured. One word was transmitted. Then repeated. Then repeated again. STENDEC, STENDEC, STENDEC. Moments later, the signal disappeared. The aircraft was never seen again. On the 2nd of August, 1947, British South American Airways Flight 645 departed Buenos Aires. Its destination was Santiago, Chile. The aircraft was a Stardust, an Avro Lancastrian, a long-range civilian aircraft adapted from wartime bombers. On board were 5 passengers, 6 crew, all experienced, all operating under normal conditions. The flight plan was routine. The weather forecast was acceptable. Nothing about the journey was considered unusual. Until the Andes. Crossing the Andes in the 1940s was never simple. There was no GPS, no satellite tracking. Navigation relied on dead reckoning, radio contact, and experience. Aircraft often flew higher than expected to clear unpredictable mountain peaks and violent air currents. Flight 645 climbed steadily as it approached the mountain range. Radio contact with Santiago Control was established. Everything was proceeding as planned. At 5:41 p.m. local time, the aircraft transmitted what should have been a routine position report. Instead, the radio operator in Santiago heard something unexpected. The message was short, clear, deliberate. STENDEC. 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 No mayday, no follow-up, no clarification. The transmission ended. Flight 645 never arrived in Santiago. Air traffic control attempted to re-establish contact. There was no reply. Search operations began almost immediately. Aircraft were dispatched along the expected route. Ground teams were alerted. Local reports were monitored. But the Andes are vast, remote, unforgiving. Days passed. Then weeks. No wreckage was found. No survivors. No trace of the aircraft. Eventually, the search was called off. Flight 645 was declared lost, and the word STENDEC was left unexplained. Radio operators were trained professionals. They were fluent in Morse code. They understood abbreviations, shorthand, and emergency signals. STENDEC did not correspond to any known distress code, any navigation marker, any operational shorthand. British South American Airways reviewed the transmission. So did independent radio experts. No official explanation was accepted. The message was logged, filed, and quietly became one of aviation's strangest final communications. Over time, several theories emerged. Some suggested STENDEC was a misheard Morse sequence. Others believed it could be a compressed phrase, shorthand, or operator error. One theory proposed it meant descent commenced. But this explanation raised problems. Why repeat it 3 times? Why not use standard phrasing? Why transmit it calmly if something had gone wrong? And why was there no follow-up? None of the explanations fully satisfied investigators. For decades, the mystery remained unresolved. The Andes kept their secret. Then, in the late 1990s, something unexpected happened. Mountaineers in Argentina reported wreckage high on Mount Tupungato. The fragments matched the Stardust. Flight 645 had been found, after more than 50 years. The wreckage suggested the aircraft had struck the mountain at high speed. There was no evidence of a controlled landing, no indication of a slow descent. Investigators concluded the aircraft likely encountered powerful tailwinds. This could have caused the crew to miscalculate their position. Believing they had cleared the Andes, they may have begun descending early, straight into the mountain. But this explanation raised one final question. If everything was normal, why transmit STENDEC? Even with the wreckage recovered, the message remained unexplained. No official report definitively decoded STENDEC. No surviving documentation clarified its meaning. It was not fear. It was not panic. It was not chaos. It was a calm transmission sent moments before impact. A word chosen deliberately, repeated deliberately. Then silence. Flight 645 did not vanish into myth. It crashed. It was found. It was explained. Mostly. But one part of the story never fit. A single word, sent 3 times, with no known meaning. STENDEC. Whatever happened in the cockpit that evening, it had time to speak. And whatever that word meant, it went unheard.